Okay, so I just got done watching the final episode of the first half of Series 6. So, as with Series 5, it's time to do an overview. Of course, in this instance, I can only do it on the first half. And I didn't want to wait because my opinions wouldn't be as fresh in my mind as they are now. But wow, I gotta say, this was an improvement over Series 5. If you remember in my Series 5 video, I said it was mediocre and there were a few stories that I just did not care for or didn't go far enough. I'm going to be honest, this series fixed a lot of what I had with Series 5. It definitely upped the epicness. It doesn't feel as small. Arthur Darvill, Rory is less irritating, and just the pacing is a lot better. So yeah, it's a big improvement. But you know what? If I generalize, you're not going to understand. So I'm going to go through each of the stories. Now, bear in mind, these are just thoughts. This is not me giving full, in-depth reviews. This is just going to be me quickly skimming along each story. So, first one, the two-parter, Day of the Moon. No, it's Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. I gotta say, it was solid. The twist at the end with the girl regenerating, of course, you know, in Good Man Goes to War, we pretty much figure out where that leads to, but it was an interesting twist, and the story itself, you know, was entertaining. The silence were definitely interesting, and it definitely adds a sort of what-if layer. Like, you think, because it says in the story that they've been around since the beginning, you wonder, were they in the background of any of the Doctor Who stories of the past? You know, like all that time that the Doctor was working with UNIT was the silence observing. You know, it's kind of weird. It adds a sort of what if layer, and that's actually really cool. But you know, it moved at a good pace. The next story, Curse of the Black Spot, was mediocre. The funny thing is that, you know, because I felt like the pirate ship aspect was kind of wasted. It was just there to sort of add. I guess you could argue because of the title, it was there to cash in on the release of Pirates of the Caribbean, the newest one. But whatever. But the real thing that got me was it's ripping off Stones of Blood. Like, no, I'm not even joking here. It is just like Stones of Blood. Think about it. In Stones of Blood, the first half was set in a stone circle, and then the second half was set in a spaceship. And here, the first half is set on a pirate ship, and the second half is in a spaceship. And what's more, just like in Stones of Blood, the two ships happen to be in the same place. It's like, wow. It's like, either that is epic rip-off and David Fisher should sue, or that's a great bit of homage. I mean, but the story itself was mild. Nothing really inspired me. Lily Cole, though she did okay, the Simon was a really lame villain. There was nothing really standouting about the episode. And Rory dying for like, what, the fifth, sixth time is just really getting old. The Doctor's wife was phenomenal. I mean, it's written by Neil Gaiman. I mean, that should be pretty much a sign right there. The idea of the Doctor meeting his TARDIS, who is pretty much his de facto wife, you know, was really cool. And Saran Jones she reminded me a lot of Helena Bonham Carter. And I think they got her because, you know, obviously they couldn't afford to, you know, get a big star like Helena Bonham Carter. But even so, it was just, she reminded me a lot of her. But just the idea of meeting her, and House is voiced by Michael Sheen. I gotta say, I think they used a voice modulator or something, but he sounded great. He reminded me a lot of Gabriel Wolf, who, as you know, voiced Sutekh in the story Pyramids of Mars. You know, and I think that I personally wouldn't have minded if they actually got Gabriel Wolf himself, but I guess you could argue that that would be too much. But you know what, Michael did a really good job. House was really scary. But of course, the only thing that kind of irked me was the fact that, again, they have this thing of Rory, you know, dying, or, well, not quite dying. Here they just, you know, leave him stranded in the TARDIS and he ages. And I gotta be honest, I wasn't actually scared. I was actually laughing at, you know, when Rory is an ancient man and he goes insane and starts shouting at Amy. I actually found that funny in a very dark way. The next story was the Rebel Flesh two-parter. Was again mediocre. I mean, it wasn't unwatchable, just that the characters were very boring. And like, seriously, how many, of these thick-headed officers who don't want to jeopardize their operations have we had in Doctor Who stories? Like, and also the actress who was playing that character, the main, the boss, is it just me, or does she look a lot like Mary Tam? I don't know, there's something in the face. She looks a lot like Mary Tam. But, also, and the Mr. TARDIS Reviews brought this to my attention. It is ripping off the Silurian two-parter, from the previous story, previous season. The fact that it was set in a similar place, you've got characters with similar motivations. It was just like, really, why? Just why? Why would you do that? I just found that really odd. Though I will say the concept of the flesh, was actually kind of interesting, though I wish they had gone in a bit more depth and really explored the psychology a bit better. But on to the final bit, the Good Man Goes to War. I mean, wow. That was like really epic, I mean, obviously all the monsters being there, and sort of like all the characters, it was a geek out moment, and it was cool to, see Matt Smith disguised as one of the monks, and then him coming up and, and basically laughing in the villains' faces. It was really cool. It was just a really, I felt 12 years old at that point. I was like, when he took off his, his hood and he laughed at all the bad guys, I was like, oh yeah, this is getting real good. And it was just really, it was just one of those moments. It was just really strong. The characters, the choice of aliens was, I guess, workable. My favorite was the Silurian lady Rashta or Vashta or whatever, Madame Vastra, and her, and her sidekick, the servant girl. They were a really good double act. And you know what? Seeing as Torchwood is finishing, they should give these two their own show. Like, imagine sort of like alien hunting and alien fighting in Victorian London. Like, I don't know about you, but I think that would be an awesome show. I would pay to get box sets of that. So, I don't know, people, you can go make petitions if you want, and, if there is that 1 in a million shooting star chance that Stephen is watching this, or Stephen, I will say, make it happen, give these two their own show, or at least give them a pilot or a TV movie, because I really like these two. There's definitely some material to work with here. The ending, the final twist ending of River being Amy's daughter was, I kind of predicted it, but I thought, nah, it's going to be a red herring. My thoughts were that, my original two bets were that either River was Romana regenerated, or she was Amy's daughter. So, take that for what it's worth. And of course I turned out to be right in one regard, which is not bad. I mean, usually when I make guesses in Doctor Who, I tend to get it wrong, but it was nice to be right for a change. As for the eye patch lady, now I just want to quickly go off on a tangent. I'm hoping to God that the eye patch lady, Karina or whatever her name is, she is not just another throwaway mercenary who happens to know about Gallifrey and wants to take over the universe. I hope to God she is not just another throwaway mercenary. I hope that she's either a time lady or she's someone who is powerful as the Doctor, from a similar species like the Eternals, or heck, she could even be the Black Guardian. I mean, yeah, it would be weird, but hey, it would be better than having the Doctor be outsmarted by just some mercenary. So, I'm hoping to God that she's something more than that. I'm hoping that she's a time lady, so maybe she's Romana, maybe she's even Susan. Like if Susan decided to get revenge on the Doctor for leaving her stranded all those years ago. I mean, it's possible. It'd be weird, but, it's better than just another throwaway mercenary, don't you think? So yes, that's where it leaves off. And really, there isn't much else to say. I mean, as I said, this is going to be a quick thoughts video, so I actually enjoyed this. This was a lot better than last season, and I'm hoping to God that the second half continues to really build on this, and I hope that, as I said, I hope that either the Madame Vastra gets her own show, or and or it'd be nice to have both. That the eye patch lady is not just another throwaway mercenary, that she's someone with a lot more depth to that. So that was just my quick thoughts. So, tell me what you thought, and tell me if you think that Vastra should get her own show. So, yeah, thanks for listening, guys.